In the insect world, there are small creatures that spread terrible terror. Which is the most terrifying creature? The one that makes the whole green forest tremble. The battle for survival of the most dangerous insects. In the natural world, sometimes strength lies not in size or muscle, but in unity and quantity. Imagine a scene at the edge of the forest. A giant python quietly slithers across the ground, its large body tightly wrapped around a small animal it has just hunted. It thinks this place is completely safe. However, right above, a rumbling sound begins to ring out, buzzing. The sky seems to shake with thousands of bee wings. That is the African honeybee, the bee known as the tiny killer. They do not need muscle strength, nor do they have fangs and claws. The only weapon is a small stinger and collective fury. An alarm signal, the whole swarm dives down. The python with its thick scales and rippling muscles cannot withstand the countless stings aimed at its scales, eyes, and soft skin. In the chaos, the giant predator is forced to retreat, leaving the feast unfinished. This is the power of the African honeybee. Small but indomitable when angry, even the giant trembles. They do not defeat their opponents with a fatal blow, but with a storm of thousands of stings that never stop. However, not all bees need the collective strength to spread terror. Around the world, there is another branch of bees that terrifies both insects and humans, the hornets. There are thousands of species of them, distributed all over the world, the most prominent of which is the Asian giant hornet. With a long, slender body, a bright yellow-black color like a warning, thin but strong wings, jaws as sharp as blades, and a stinger that can sting many times in a row, wasps possess enough weapons to turn them into formidable assassins. Unlike honeybees that mainly collect pollen and protect the nest, wasps are natural-born hunters. A single individual can also rush at terrifying speed, using its jaws to tear apart its prey and inject paralyzing venom. With just a few precise strikes, a grasshopper or even a large spider can quickly fall. but their true strength is only revealed when the whole swarm takes action. A peaceful morning in the forest, the honeybee hive is full of sweet honey. Thousands of individual wasps diligently fly back and forth. Suddenly a scout wasp lands, secreting a pheromone marker. Immediately after, the sky gradually darkens as the invaders arrive. The massacre begins. The Hornets rushed in, their speed and aggression leaving the weak honeybees unable to fight back. A series of dead bees piled up at the foot of the nest. Meanwhile, other individuals rushed straight inside, which was filled with larvae and honey. In just a few hours, a giant honeybee nest was flattened, turning into a cold-blooded feast for the invaders. The tiny honeybee larvae became a valuable food source to feed the young generation of hornets. The venom of hornets not only causes severe pain, but also contains toxins that cause tissue necrosis and attack the nerve. For humans, just a few stings can lead to anaphylactic shock, even death, if not treated promptly. In the insect world, almost no species dares to face this sky warrior directly. If the African honeybee proves that unity can make even a giant like a python retreat, the hornet proves that individual cruelty and strength can be enough to cause terror. Both in different ways have asserted their position as the most dangerous bees on the planet. The life of wasps is also full of discipline and violence. They live in colonies with a hierarchical structure: queen bees, worker bees, soldier bees. The nest is built from chewed wood into thin layers of stacked paper, containing hundreds of individuals. In early summer, the queen bee begins to lay eggs. The larvae hatch and are fed on chewed insect meat. At the end of the season, the male bees and young queen bees are born. After mating, the male bees die, while the queen bee finds a hiding place to hibernate and begins a new cycle in the spring. This cruel life cycle makes them always expand their territory, constantly multiply and conquer. However, even the warriors of the sky have enemies. Bee-eaters, some large spiders, or even mantises can take down wasps. But to do that, they must be extremely agile and precise, because just a moment of carelessness, a wasp's sting is enough to turn the hunter into a victim. Brutal, disciplined, and armed with deadly weapons, wasps are a testament to the harshness of nature, where even the smallest creatures can wreak havoc, not only on insects, but also on humans. The world of bees is a testament to both sides of nature. Unity can defeat a giant, while individual brutality is enough to flatten an entire group. But bees are not the only ones who wreak havoc in the insect world. In another corner of the forest, where sunlight filters through the green foliage, another creature is hiding, patiently waiting. It is not noisy, not rushing like a swarm of bees, but chooses absolute silence. Its sharp triangular eyes follow every smallest movement, and its front pincers are curved like blades, waiting for the moment to swing. It is the mantis, who looks like it is preying, but is actually a cold-blooded killer of the green forest. On a branch right next to the flower bush, a wasp is busy searching for prey. Little does it know, just a few centimeters away, an ambush hunter is ready. In a moment, the folded pincers suddenly swing up, sharp spines firmly embedded in the wasp's body. The proud sky warrior just now struggles helplessly, becoming an instant meal. The mantis has a long, slender body, usually green or brown, blending perfectly with leaves and dry branches. The large eyes allow observation in many directions at the same time, detecting the slightest movement. The most powerful weapon is the front pair of pincers, folded sharp, with hook-like spines. Just close them, and the prey has no way out. Unlike the rushing and aggressive wasps, the mantis is a master of silence. They patiently hide for hours, motionless as a leaf. And when the moment comes, the attack is faster than the blink of an eye. The prey only has time to see the flash of the pincers before disappearing forever. Their menu is extremely diverse, from flies, mosquitoes, butterflies, grasshoppers, to baby lizards, baby sparrows, and even fellow mantises. In nature, there is nothing more horrifying than a mantis, willing to turn its own kind into a meal. The mantis mating season is one of the most gruesome rituals in the insect world. The female, larger and more ferocious, suddenly bites off the head of her mate during lovemaking. The male loses his life, but the sacrifice is not in vain. It becomes a source of nutrition to help the female have enough energy for reproduction. Soon after, the female mantis lays hundreds of eggs, wrapped in a hard foam cocoon that clings tightly to the tree branch. When the hatching season comes, a series of tiny assassins emerge, scattering everywhere, and from the very first moment of their life, they enter the cold-blooded journey of true predators. However, even the masters of ambush are not invincible. Birds, bats, large spiders, and even their own kind can become threats. But with perfect camouflage and lightning speed, the praying mantis still holds the position of one of the most dangerous assassins in the insect world. A creature that looks like it is praying, but is actually a silent angel of death. The praying mantis is proof that peace in nature is sometimes just a cover for fierce massacres. In the humid Amazon rainforest, amidst the chirping of insects and the dense darkness, there is a giant predator quietly moving on the carpet of rotting leaves. The sound of its feet rubbing against each other sounds like a drumbeat, making any small creature shiver. It is the giant tarantula spider Goliath, the largest spider on the planet. Unlike the small spiders we often see in the corner of the house, Goliath can stretch its legs up to 30 centimeters. Its body weighs nearly 200 grams, as big as an adult's hand. Its dark brown body is covered with thick hair. Its long fangs can penetrate the skin and flesh of its prey. Goliath does not spin webs to trap prey, but hunts with muscle strength and speed. Its menu is very diverse, from insects, crickets, frogs, lizards, to small birds and mice. In the night forest, a mouse is looking for food, and it is the moment of death. The giant spider lunges forward. Its fangs sink in, injecting a venom into the victim's body that quickly paralyzes it. Immediately after, digestive enzymes are secreted, turning the flesh and organs into a liquid form, allowing the Goliath to easily suck up its meal. Although the Goliath's venom is not fatal to humans, its bite still causes intense pain, swelling, and stinging for hours. Even more frightening, when threatened, the Goliath can use its feet to rub its abdomen, releasing countless microscopic barbs. These hairs float in the air, cling to the skin, causing itching and burning, and if they get into the eyes, can cause temporary blindness. When the breeding season comes, the male and female meet, and then the female lays hundreds of eggs in a giant silk sack and guards them fiercely. When the eggs hatch, a series of young spiders spread out everywhere, starting their own fierce hunting cycle. No need for webs, no need for traps, it spreads terror with its giant body and deadly fangs. The Goliath tarantula, the silent giant of the Amazon, is proof that in nature, size is sometimes absolute power. At the bottom of the earth, among the layers of dry, rotting leaves, there exist small warriors, but united to a terrifying degree. They do not need poisonous fangs like snakes, nor do they have giant bodies like tarantulas. Their only weapons are numbers, iron discipline, and collective rage. That is the ants, the invincible warriors of the green forest, and among them, two names make the whole world shudder: army ants and bullet ants. In the Amazon rainforest, there are predators that do not need poisonous fangs, nor giant bodies. What makes them terrifying is numbers and iron discipline. When they move, the whole forest seems to shake. These are the army ants, small warriors with terrible collective strength. A proud mantis stands motionless on the carpet of leaves, its sharp triangular eyes watching every movement around it. With its sharp knife-like pincers, it is an ambusher that terrifies its prey. However, it does not know that the ground beneath its feet is starting to shake. Black waves roll up, hundreds of thousands of army ants are approaching like a living waterfall. In just a split second, the flood of ants has surrounded the mantis. The number is so large that any resistance becomes useless. After just a few short minutes, the one who was once the silent killer of the green forest is now just a torn corpse, turned into a collective feast for the bloodthirsty ants. For army ants, there is no concept of prey too strong, only not enough time to escape. Unlike many species of ants that build fixed nests, army ants constantly migrate. They form living nests out of their own bodies, clinging tightly to each other to protect the larvae and the queen in the middle. As the swarm moves, any creature that gets in its way becomes a collective meal. From tiny insects, spiders, scorpions, to baby birds, even snakes and lizards, all succumb to this waterfall of life. The true power of army ants lies in the collective. A single ant is nothing but hundreds of thousands of individuals working together become an unstoppable machine of destruction. Their razor-sharp jaws tear and tear, turning an entire forest into a deadly battlefield. In the natural world, army ants are living proof that sometimes solidarity is more terrifying than any individual weapon. However, in the ant world, strength does not always lie in the collective. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, there is another species of ant that makes people shudder, not because of its numbers, but because of the pain it causes. They do not need millions of ants to spread terror. Just one sting is enough to turn the victim into a living hell. That is the bullet ant, the ant with the most painful sting in the world. People call it bullet ants because its sting is described as painful, like being shot by a bullet. Only about 3 centimeters long, with a shiny black body. But the stinger of the bullet ant contains extremely strong neurotoxin. A single sting is enough to cause the victim to burn, tremble, in throbbing pain that lasts for 24 hours. Not living in giant colonies like army ants, bullet ants usually live in small nests under rotten trees. But what makes them famous around the world comes from the coming-of-age ceremony of the Saturmawe tribe in Brazil. Teenagers must put their hands in gloves filled with live bullet ants and endure hundreds of consecutive stings. For them, overcoming that extreme pain is worthy of becoming a man. Small, lonely, but just one sting is enough to make the whole world terrified. That is the bullet ant, a symbol of pain in nature. In the natural world, even the smallest creatures can become terrifying. Which species are you most impressed with? Leave your comments in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss out on the next survival battles. The wind blew across the parched grasslands, carrying the heat of the dying day. Under the shade of an old acacia tree, a male lion lay motionless. His name was Mr. T, once the unchallenged king of the savannah. But now in his final moments, his memory still held the light of his glorious past. In the middle of the scorched savanna of Africa where death lurks behind every bush, every step could be the last, a male lion wrote a story that the entire wild world could never forget. Since he was a cub in the Spartan pride, one cub had a different appearance. He grew a mane earlier than the others, was the first to roar, and was also the first to smell the blood of his prey. That was Mr. T, the ruthless killer. Always by his side was his brother Kinky Tail, his most loyal companion. When they grew up, they did not choose to live alone but joined a group of 6 male lions. Later, people called that group Mapogo, a symbol of strength and cruelty. The fact that many male lions formed an alliance like this was a way to increase their chances of survival. A single male lion had a hard time keeping his territory, and even harder to protect his female pride from invaders. But when they joined forces, they could drive out others, conquer new lands, share mates, and protect their territory together. Alliances brought many benefits: more companions, more strength, and a longer reign. However, this also brought difficulties. When there were no more external enemies, lions in the same alliance sometimes began to compete with each other for females, for territory, and for leadership. These conflicts could cause the alliance to break up. The Mapogo were named after a notorious group of protectors in South Africa, a way of saying that this group of lions is also uncompromising. They fight for dominance and do not forgive weakness. Among them, Mr. T stands out as a warrior who never backs down and is the soul of this alliance. In the middle of a hot afternoon, dust rises up under the feet of 6 male lions who have just set foot in a new territory. Before the pride can react, Mr. T, without needing orders or waiting for his allies, rushes straight into the center of the clash. It is not just a victory, but a declaration. Mr. T did not come to join, he came to lead. And from that day on, no one in the Alliance dares to doubt his position as the #1 warrior. Mr. T's ability does not lie in speed or agility. What makes him stand out is his brute strength, his tenacity, and his unyielding spirit. Mr. T's body was covered with scars, but each one was a testament to the battles he had survived, the times he had won. He was not the biggest lion in Mapogo, but he was the most feared. With Mr. T at the forefront, Mapogo became an alliance that spread fear throughout the Sabi Sands, where all the old rulers were overthrown one by one. Throughout the Sabi Sands, Mapogo gradually took over the female lion prides from the old alliances. Each victory meant more territory, more female prides, and the right to breed. They killed all the cubs of their enemies to bring the female prides into heat, the only way to breed their own. Mr. T was always the vanguard. He charged forward, paving the way for the decisive pounce. The whole alliance relied on his ferocity and courage. Where Mr. T appeared, there was no room for weakness, only punches, blood, and dominance. The Mapogo are not just a coalition, they are a nightmare for anyone who wants to hold territory in the Sabi Sands. Six male lions, each once warriors in their own pride, have joined forces to form a killing machine. They have no mercy. Whenever they conquer a new territory, they eliminate all the old males, kill the young, and then take over the female pride. While the Mapogo are expanding, another silent enemy is developing, a pack of spotted hyenas. Although not as powerful as lions, hyenas live differently. They have a tight social system, headed by older females. Each individual has a clear hierarchy, knows how to coordinate, knows when to fight, when to retreat. They do not hunt by strength but by numbers and endurance. When the pack has set its sights on prey, they will pursue it to the end, even if it takes hours. Their extremely powerful jaws allow them to crush bones and eat them clean, leaving nothing behind. They also spared no expense, from flesh, bones, to skin. Between Mapogo and the hyenas, there was a secret war. No one declared war, but both knew, if they were not careful one night, they would be torn apart. Mr. T understood that, and he was always on guard, but no power lasts forever, without cracks. As the alliance grew, the initial bond gradually faded, simmering disagreements over territory, female pride, and roles between members began to surface. Mr. T and Kinky Tail, who were the closest pair, chose to leave the group, not because they were weak, but because they wanted to create their own empire. They left the central region, heading east to Sabi Sand, a land that was not yet fully controlled. There were only 2 male lions, but their reputation and power were enough to make other alliances wary. They quickly took over a female pride, re-established the territorial system, and continued the dominant lifestyle they had in Mapago. Separated from the alliance, Mr. T did not lose his fighting instinct. In fact, he became even more dangerous, because now, all decisions came from him and Kinky Tail. No longer having to share the role with 4 other individuals, they roamed like 2 war gods without stopping. On a hot afternoon, the red sun hung low on the horizon. Mr. T and Kinky Tail were patrolling along the edge of their newly acquired territory. The air was heavy. Occasionally the sound of birds of prey could be heard overhead. Suddenly, from the short grass ahead, a distinctive cackle rang out, an unmistakable sound. Mr. T and Kinky Tail stopped. In front of them, more than a dozen spotted hyenas were advancing south, brazenly crossing the territory that the 2 lions had just established. There was no prey, no specific competition, just a blatant provocation. Mr. T roared. The hyenas paused for a moment, then both sides charged at once. There was only blood and dust flying in the frenzy. After only a few minutes, the arrogant laughter turned into groans. The hyenas fled. But the victory did not last long. On a quiet early morning, when the fog still covered the ground, Mr. T and Kinky Tail were suddenly ambushed by 4 young lions. They attacked from many directions, choosing the moment when the 2 legendary warriors were resting. Kinky Tail was surrounded and defeated after a fierce battle. and Mr. T, with serious injuries, was forced to retreat in the pain of losing his closest brother. After retreating, Mr. T did not look back. The wound on his body had not yet healed when the wound in his heart had already turned into a scar. Alone, he returned to the old land where the Mapago Alliance once ruled. Their old allies such as Makulu, Pretty Boy and Rasta were still there, older, fewer, but their eyes were still full of vigilance and memories. From then on, he fought side by side with those who had written the legend. No longer a conqueror
everywhere.
now, Mr. T is the one who keeps the fire burning for the last remnants of a fiery era. But the wild instinct has never been quenched, and the war has not stopped. The rainy season has come. The sky is dyed a dull gray. Each heavy rain falls, softening the red dust that has covered the steppe for many months of dryness. New grass begins to grow from the cracks in the ground, spreading a lush green carpet, as if reviving the land that was once rotten by the scorching sun. Puddles reappear, attracting herds of animals to return, including wildebeest. The herds of wildebeest follow each other in an endless stream, moving instinctively in search of grass and water. Each wildebeest has a muscular body, sharp curved horns, and powerful legs. They can run fast and have endurance, but during the migration season, it is the numbers that matter. Thousands of individuals move at the same time, obscuring the view, creating a thunderous noise that reverberates across the plains. Amidst the bustling scene of the rainy season and the rumbling of the wildebeests moving, a giant creature quietly parted the grass and approached a lone hippo. Breaking away from the river to find a source of young grass growing thickly along the edge of the forest, it slowly chewed on each clump of grass, unaware that it had fallen into the sights of predators. Hiding under the shade of low acacia bushes, 4 dark figures quietly lowered their bodies. It was Mr. T and his herd. Hunger, instinct, and skillful calculation made them not hesitate before the enormous size of their prey. In just a few minutes, the giant lay motionless in the middle of the swamp, leaving behind a trail of red blood on the green grass. As the sunset spread across the grassland, the last rays of sunlight penetrated the rain, reflecting on Mr. T's wet fur. The air was heavy with the smell of raw meat, blood, and wet grass. As time passed, the Mapogo alliance gradually disintegrated. The once undefeated warriors were now old and weak, covered with scars. Young lions from far away came, not afraid of legends, only wanting to fight for territory. During a patrol, Mr. T was ambushed by 4 young lions. He fought fiercely, but his age did not allow the fight to last. Under the scorching sun, blood spilled, dust flew everywhere. Mr. T fell, not roaring, not complaining, just silently like a king who had completed his mission. Blood soaked into the ground, red dust covered his silver mane. In the moment of fading between life and death, Mr. T was silent, but in his mind, an image appeared not of the past, but of the future. On the banks of the Mara River, the evening light poured down on the thick black mud. A giant hippo carcass lay motionless, surrounded by crocodiles. But in the distance, a group of lion cubs, a female, and his descendants were approaching. Fearlessly, they crossed the boundary, reclaiming their place between roars and fangs. Leading the way was a small male, eyes blazing, a sparse mane standing up like he had when he first came. He charged forward, without hesitation, carrying the old strength in a new form. Mr. T closed his eyes, not in pain, but in peace. He knew his bloodline was still burning, not just in his blood but in his fighting spirit and courage. Under the last sunset, where an old warrior fell, a new generation was rising. The steppe would change, the battles would continue. But the name of Mr. T and the legend of Mapogo will forever echo in every roar, every footprint on the red soil. Not as people who once existed, but as symbols that never die.